Edward Snowden making major claims in regards to aliens. He says that the aliens are trying to contact Earth right now. Blake Cousins' Third Phase Moon. Welcome back, everybody from around the world. The NSA whistleblower was speaking as he continues to live in isolation in Russia, following a major leak of information regarding the way the government agencies monitor and use our personal data. However, he took some time recently, just Friday, and he spoke to scientist Neil deGrasse Tyson, the Star Talk podcast, to make some incredible claims. Listen to this. Snowden states, "So if you have an alien civilization trying to listen for other civilizations, or our civilization trying to listen for aliens, there's only one small period in the development of a society when all of their communication will be sent via the most primitive and most unprotected means." So when you think about it, everything that we're hearing through our satellites, or everything they're hearing from our civilization, if there are indeed aliens out there, all their communications are encrypted by default. So what we're hearing that's actually an alien TV show or, a phone call is indistinguishable to us from cosmic microwave background radiation. So basically, according to Snowden, in my opinion, he's basically saying that they have leaking complications as well, and they encrypt their messages so people can't read them, even humans or other civilizations out there, unless there are aliens that want to leak information out like Snowden has been doing over the past few years. What do you think, people? Do you think there's an alien encrypted code that the human technology, the scientists right now, would never be able to recognize an alien message trying to be sent to us? Now, speaking of leaks, listen to this. A naval officer tells us exactly what he saw hidden in Antarctica. A naval officer tells us what he remembers, including seeing a huge opening in the ice. In a no-fly area, they were crossing with medical emergency on board. Then he ferried up a group of scientists who had disappeared for 2 weeks and has specifically been warned not to refer again to this subject. As he put it, they look scared. Antarctica has been long considered one of the most mysterious places on Earth. Therefore, it's not strange that numerous conspiracy theories accounts have been proposed throughout the years trying to explain some of the many enigmatic occurrences on Earth's most isolated continent. For years, people have claimed that Antarctica is one of the most guarded places on Earth, for a good reason. Many authors have proposed that there are many intelligent, interesting things hidden beneath the Antarctica that are kept away from society. Talk about ancient civilization inhabiting Antarctica has existed for decades. What if, in the distant past, when Earth and Antarctica were much different than today, an ancient civilization developed there, creating fascinating structures and monuments and temples? Would we find evidence of their existence today? Well, many people claim we already have, and I agree. But why has Antarctica become a center of conspiracy theories as of late? Perhaps one of the greatest reasons is because it's so isolated, and you can't just travel there if you wish. Furthermore, even though we know about Antarctica only for a little over 100 years, there are numerous ancient maps that depict past of Antarctica free of ice. One of the most controversial maps, without a doubt, composed in 1513 by Turkish Admiral Piri Reis, who drew a map that would create a global debate over 500 years after him. The map depicts Antarctica, which was discovered between 1818 and 1820. But how is this possible? The history of Antarctica emerges from early Western theories of a vast continent known as Terra Australis, believed to exist in the far south of the globe. The term Antarctic referring to the opposite of the Arctic Circle. Now take a look at this. In 2012, a satellite image of Antarctica spotted a strange oval-shaped formation in one of the most remote places on the planet. While thousands of miles away from modern society, this strange oval-shaped structure raised numerous questions among experts. At 400 feet across, experts analyzed the image that it could be a structure a result of Mother Nature? They say the unusual shape of the structure suggests it may be man-made. Now, the image is just one of many odd things that have been found in the Antarctic, and many authors and whistleblowers claim that there's more to Antarctica than we've ever been told. What is referred to as truly shocking and astonishing claims this official Navy officer states that he saw a huge opening in the ice where there would be no flyovers by any craft. Why is it there? What's it doing there? I want to get your opinions, people. Now, could the naval officer be referring to Hollow Earth? Well, in February 1947, Admiral Richard Byrd was in charge of a massive operation in the Arctic that was called Operation High Jump. He was given the Medal of Honor by our United States government. In that period, Admiral Richard E. Byrd, together with Admiral Forrestal, who was a member of the Majestic 12, those had a great alien-related knowledge, had the opportunity to fly unexpectedly to land beyond the North Pole, and for the first time to visit Hollow Earth. Admiral Forrestal was appointed in 1947 by President Harry S. Truman as the first United States Secretary of Defense. Photos today are showing us through satellite some of the entrances to Hollow Earth in Antarctica, and some unexplained and mysterious hidden locations in the North Pole, probably including among them the entrance that Admiral Byrd had entered the Hollow Earth in 1947 to land beyond the North Pole, where he wrote books that has still been kept a secret and away from publication and from the entire world by the USA and other governments. What do they not want Admiral Byrd to share in his publicated books? Get them out there. We want to see it. Sounds like they're covering something up. Something massive. Is there an entrance to Hollow Earth in Antarctica? What's furthermore disturbing, James Forrestal was thrown out of a 16-story window despite the claims that he had committed suicide. He was going to go public with the information that he knew and the secrets he was going to release. Admiral Byrd wrote an extensive document diary of his journey into the Earth via the North Pole, which he would publish soon after all the books were banned and retrieved, except for the diaries that he and his family had held under lock and key. The government at one time gave Byrd 8 months and unlimited funding to retrieve a couple UFOs embedded somewhere in the north. I want to thank everybody for joining me right here at Third Phase of Moon. And don't forget, our Friday show is coming up. It starts 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Call in 347-934-0378. Share your UFO experience to the world. We'll see you very soon. And keep your eyes on the skies and have a steady hand, because you never know when things. The lost continent of Atlantis has intrigued readers for generations. Blake Cousins, welcome back everybody from around the world. We have incredible evidence coming in from Google Earth in regards to the lost city. But first, let's get started with this. Our first account of Atlantis came from the Greek philosopher Plato in the year 360 BC. He spoke of an advanced civilization that existed 9,000 years before his time. A civilization of gods, men, power, and destruction. The island, the continent that existed beyond the Pillars of Hercules, which in our time we call the Straits of Gibraltar. Well, the description of Atlantis is so detailed that it begs the question, did this place actually exist? Can we use Plato's description as a guide to find the lost continent of Atlantis? It was claimed by Plato that the gods of the old divided the land so that each god would have their own Poseidon, given Atlantis. An island that was larger than Atlantis was an island consisting mainly of mountains. Plato calculated it would be 3,000 stadiums in modern times that equal around 355 miles wide. Now Poseidon and his mortal wife, Evenor, gave birth to 5 pairs of male twins. The oldest of these twins, Atlas, whose name King of the Island of Atlantis, our depictions of Atlas today are of a man carrying the world on his shoulders. Plato spoke about how Poseidon carved out the land for his love Evenor and enclosed it with 3 circular moats of increasing size. These moats separated by rings of land that were proportional in size. The Atlanteans built bridges connected these rings of lands. They built docks, bridges out of stone from the cliffs surrounding the islands. The walls were made of red and white and black rock. Giant walls, a tower were placed at the entrances to every concentric ring. The walls were covered with brass and tin and whatever precious metal they had in the area. He spoke of how the island nation was made of rings, within rings, within rings. Rings were everywhere. Where mountains arose on the islands, you could find rings of water and land. Now, if we take Plato at his word and Atlantis did exist beyond the Pillars of Hercules, what would we find? Well, take a look at this. While looking on Google Earth, it appears there is some kind of giant landmass that could actually be the ancient remnants of the sunken island continent of Atlantis. A place in modern times that we call the Azores. Now, if we look at the Azores from Google Earth, we can see a giant landmass that exists underneath the water. And if you measure it, you can see this massive land mass underneath the water is a little over 400 miles wide, which is just a little over what Plato described. Now, not only the Azores are also a volcanic chain of islands, they consist of rings within rings within rings. And also found on these islands are red, black, and, you guessed it, white stones. And if that isn't enough, these islands are covered with ancient pyramids that no one knows who built them. There are even pyramids found underneath the water, like there is some kind of catastrophe. And what part of the land where these pyramids once existed is now underwater? Now, I want to get your opinions below, people. Do you think Plato is giving us the straight up answer of what happened to the ancient civilization known as Atlantis? Or is this some kind of fairy tale? Well, in my opinion, the Google Earth evidence is quite clear and astonishing, as well as these rings within rings within rings. It's exactly like how Plato described. The whole geography is about the approximate size of how wide it would be as Plato describes. What's your opinion, people? Is Atlantis waiting to be found, or has it been found already? Well, Atlantis is a hot topic, and there are many out there that say they know exactly where it is. I want to get your opinions. Do you think you know where Atlantis is? We have Brent Cousins here. We've been talking about this whole subject matter all day today. Brent, what do you make? What do you make of Plato's statements, and do you think Atlantis actually existed?
Well, I think Plato needed something that we got today, and I believe that technology and science is basically solved the existence of Atlantis. Google Earth is providing, I think, solid evidence in this being true, and I believe Plato was dead on about what his assessments were about Atlantis. This is incredible news.
Well, yeah, the technology is there for everybody to do their own research, and some people are saying that, well, it might not be in this exact location, but maybe somewhere next to Cuba. Have you heard about that? Atlantis possibly being located underneath the waters close to Cuba, Brent? What do you make of this?
Blake, I believe that if we had Atlantis, I'm sure that there was other civilizations that were basically throughout the world, and maybe there's more than a handful of more discoveries of Atlantean kind civilizations.
Absolutely, absolutely. Massive civilizations extinct from our knowledge. It just is not in the history books. But if you believe what Plato is saying, you got to believe that there's other civilizations out there beyond our dreams, people. Beyond our dreams. Now, if you've got something that you've captured on video, you got to share it to us right here at Third Phase Moon. We want to see your incredible UFO videos, weather phenomenon. If you got something you want to share, we always have our
radio shows every Monday and Friday night. Blake Cousins, keep your eyes on the skies.
When it comes to ancient Egypt, nothing is more highly debated than the age of the Sphinx. Blake Cousins, Third Phase Moon. Welcome back, everybody. Some people believe it's over 5,000 years old, and some others believe it's between 12 to 13,000 years old, and some also think that it's up to 25,000 years old. So why such different times? Why is there no consensus of the age of the Sphinx? Well, there's a few things we know for sure. First, the Sphinx is older than the pyramids. Well, how do we know this? Well, going by standard Egyptian chronology, there are records indicating the existence of the Sphinx before the reign of Khufu, the creator of the Great Pyramid. In modern times, when we had discovered the Sphinx, it was covered up to its neck in sand. So there was a long time it was believed that the Sphinx was nothing but a head. But as excavations started to take place all around Egypt, it was discovered that it was not just a head, but there's an entire body attached to the Sphinx. But this isn't the first time that happened. In the year 1401 BC, the pharaoh Tutmosis was still only a prince and not even in the line to be a pharaoh. While out hunting on a trip with some of his followers, he grew tired and lay down next to the Sphinx and had a dream. And says the Sphinx spoke to him. And this is what it said. "Look at me, see me. I am your father, and I shall give you the kingship on earth in front of all the living ones. You shall wear the white and red crowns upon the throne of Geb. The earth shall be yours, in its length and width, and all the eye of the Lord of the Illuminatis. The food of the two lands shall be yours, and the great tributes of every foreign land. Your lifetime will be time in many years. My face is yours, my heart is yours, and you are the protector to me. For my condition is like the one that is in need. All my limbs are dismembered, as the sands of the desert upon which I lay have reached me. So run to me to have that done which I desire, knowing you are my son and my protector. Come forth, and I shall be with you. I shall be your leader." So Tutmosis did as the Sphinx instructed and uncovered the Sphinx's body. And the Sphinx kept his promise and made Tutmosis pharaoh. And to honor the occasion, Tutmosis had a stela created and placed it between the paws of the Sphinx. So what does that tell us? It tells us that the time of ancient Egyptians, the Sphinx was already an ancient monolith, a statue buried up to his head in sand. And now, today, modern geologists who study the Sphinx determined that the outside perimeter wall has been eroded away by rain and water. It's fairly unanimous in the world of academia that it hasn't rained like that in over 11,000 years. So even in ancient times, the Sphinx was already ancient, and the Sphinx isn't alone. There's another place in Egypt that was ancient in ancient times. And this temple is unlike any of its surrounding temples near it. It's 15 meters under the ground, and it's made from giant, perfectly cut pieces of solid granite. And although granite is used in a lot of statues and blocks in Egypt, there are no buildings made of solid granite, except for Osirian. If that wasn't strange enough, the Osirian is also lower than the natural water table, so every year, the Osirian fills with water and has to be pumped out. But then, a discovery was made that blew everything else out of the water. Now, while everyone was so wrapped up in the discovery of Tomb Osiris, people were distracted away from the incredible engineering that took place. They started with a shaft, cut 20 feet straight down, then took a 90-degree angle, then went out 40 foot more, then went straight down another 40 feet, till you came to a staging room that had 7 hollowed out carved places. Inside were 7 granite stone sarcophagi, and in the corner of that room was found another shaft, cut straight down to 90 feet underneath the Sphinx, and there they found the tomb of Osiris, a sarcophagus that was over 12 feet long, whose lid alone weighed 9 tons. It rested in a pool of water surrounded by 4 pillars on each corner. They had appeared to be at one time black granite stone, obelisk, but has since been destroyed. So was there a god in there? Who was inside this giant sarcophagus? Well, Egyptologists tell us nobody was in there. It was a symbolic tomb, and this place was a place of prayer and worship. Although there are no remnants of any offerings to the gods or sacrifices that were made, and there were no ladders of any means of getting down to the tomb. Another interesting point is the shape and design of the tomb of Osiris. It has no markings, no magical inscriptions to ensure the god's king's passage into heaven. It was blank, not a single hieroglyphic on the tomb itself anywhere. It was pretty rare for any sarcophagus to be made up of solid granite, but there is no other place that contains a giant sarcophagi, and it's just as mysterious as this tomb. They weigh up to 50 tons and were carved from a single block of granite. Sarcophagi were moved underground through hallways carved out of bedrock that are barely wide enough for the sarcophagi to fit through. Now, there are theories on how they moved stones for constructing their pyramids. Are there any other gods that have a tomb? Why is Osiris depicted with his dark green alien skin? Was it to represent his death and what happens to the human body after it dies? Or was it meant to represent an alien god who descended from the stars? Or was this just a figment of the imagination of some ancient Egyptian? It does seem curious that the ancient Egyptians don't speak of Osiris as some kind of men spoke about him as a king of their past. Their first king, the creator of civilization, he had his own land. His brother and sister has had land as well. He had his own people that prayed to him, his own temples dedicated to him. Laws and rules were governed by him. And for example, to show you how far back in time that Osiris supposedly existed, his first rules for helping to create civilization was that his followers, man, can no longer eat each other. He banned cannibalism. One of the first laws decreed by the Lord Osiris that no man can do. He made many laws, purchases, lands, trade in slaves, ordered construction, and a list of other things that any normal human might do, but was no normal human. He was the first god king, Lord Osiris, creator of civilization. I want to get your opinions, people, below of what was the pharaoh Osiris up to? Why did he reveal what the Sphinx truly
from
was?
around the world? We have a special guest and incredible breaking news in regards to Google Earth and Google Moon suppressing imagery from the public, and this is not the first time it's happened. Let me tell you, people, it's been happening over and over. We at Third Phase Moon have been sharing Google Earth and Google Moon imagery for a long time, and some of the images we've shown you have been wiped, scrubbed, scuttled, whatever you want to call it. They don't exist anymore in the archive for the public. And we have Kyle with us from UFO Proof with some new scuttled footage. And we have some new footage coming up too that I want to share you from Mars. I wonder if they're going to be scuttling this stuff too. But wow, Kyle from UFO Proof, we have them right now, and it's quite insane. We got the man. How you doing tonight? What happened?
Doing good.
With your new research in regards to the moon. Kyle, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Blake. So I was on Google Earth or Google Moon or whatever a while ago. I had put out a video showing the tower and the so-called Tower of Babel, the shard or whatever, something that another ufologist, Richard Hoagland, had first made claims about. And by using Google Moon, I actually stumbled across it, and it was amazing. It's literally a 2-mile high structure pointing off the face of the moon, and what was interesting is I posted a video about it about a year ago, and I was showing some friends, and then just a day ago, I was talking about it with some people, and I went to go look for it, and today it is gone. It is nowhere on my Google Earth, and I do run Google Earth Pro, so
wow.
I found, yeah,
because no, we've been watching this. We just spoke about this the other night. I think when we're on your show on UFO Proof, we actually were saying that Google Earth and Google Images are scrubbing their imagery, and then next thing you know, it was actually within 24 hours, and all of a sudden, this imagery has got all this. It's got to be. I don't know. It sounds like we're shaking things up.
Now I'm just gonna point this out that I did find it very unusual because we were looking at it, just some friends of mine on Google Hangouts before we had our interview on my channel, and then we go and we do our interview, and then the next day, it's gone. Now it's not on there anymore, and I just found it interesting that happened. Now, you know what? I believe that structure is there no matter what. I think that the Google Moon or whatever on my end, there's something up with it, and I just find it interesting that that's even possible to happen. I mean, when you give out the coordinates to anybody on Earth, you give them the coordinates for Google Earth, you put out the longitude and latitude, and they type it in, and it takes them right to the same picture, so everyone gets to see the same thing. How come I'm not able to see the same thing, even though I have the exact same coordinates that everyone else is using? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, this is weird because you're saying other people out there are still able to access this, but now you're being denied the access to Google Earth. Is this correct?
It seems like not like I'm being denied, but something's happening where maybe they're updating, maybe they're doing whatever, but it's obviously affecting my Google Earth or Google Moon or whatever. It doesn't show it anymore. An object literally I was just looking at a couple days prior to all of a sudden is not there anymore, and it doesn't seem to make the slightest bit of sense because I have friends on the other side of the world who are able to go and view it, and it's just interesting that there's something's going on. I mean, how is that possible that we can have the same exact coordinates, but we have two different pictures of the same spot? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, so like, what's happening?
It doesn't. You know what's really weird too is I was watching your video too, and you have before and after you released this footage that you discovered on the moon, and now you're looking at it and you're showing exactly on how you're doing it again, and you don't see the exact same anomaly of whatever this tower is. Trust me, we've got some incredible moon footage from Robert Morningstar and the Apollo mission, high-res stuff, and it shows the exact same thing in my opinion, and it looks like a tower. But what's really weird is that I want to get the coordinates. I want to get people's help, because is this some kind of a glitch in the system, or is Kyle onto something? Because I'm pretty sure
that's
go ahead.
I was wondering the same thing. I'm like, is it possible that the American servers for Google are different than they are, for the other side of the world, or is there some kind of an update? But it seems like an update that doesn't make even the slightest bit of sense, because it's literally taking stuff away that should be there. Stuff that's been there for over a year. That's as much as I can say that object has been there for over a year, and how does that happen in a single day? Now it's gone. And I mean, it's not like, I don't think it's technically like a glitch because of the way Google Moon works, which is they fly a satellite around the moon, and it sends down a laser, and it simply scans the topography of the landscape of the moon. So you don't actually see the actual image. It's a computer-generated image of just the topography. So obviously, whatever it was there. I mean, because it can tell you if you're down inside of a crater, or if you're up on a mound or whatever. It shows it no problem. So it showed this structure, which just happened to be 2 miles high, which is exactly what Richard Hoagland was describing when he was talking about this photograph of the shard on the moon. So I mean, I believe the structure to be there. I don't believe it's an anomaly in Google Earth, but I do believe that there's some kind of anomaly happening to my Google Earth somehow. Somehow something's not working correctly, because everything else is perfectly fine. Everything else is totally there and in its place and where it should be, except for that one thing.
Well, that's what we want to do. We want to experiment. We're going to get the links. We're going to share it with everybody, and we want to make sure that it's still there, or is it not there? We got to get down to the bottom of this mystery, because I know for a fact that there has been suppressed photographs from Google Earth that has been taken down, and they're not up. So what Kyle is saying, it makes total sense. I'm wondering if, Kyle, I want you to take a look at this discovery. It was made just recently by a man, he calls himself Mars Moon Space TV, and he's got a YouTube channel, and this is a really incredible photograph of Mars from, let's see, it's coming in from the Mars orbiter, and the number is PCP underscore 010329 underscore 1525. So if you search that up under the Mars orbiter, you'll be able to find this photograph. And did you get this? Did you get this photograph that I sent you, Kyle?
I'm looking at it right now, and the sphere, correct?
Yeah, exactly. A sphere, the shadow. It's actually a pretty incredible discovery, just recently released, and I wanted to get your opinion. Right away when I'm looking at it, it looks, the shadow is incredibly elongated. You have some kind of a formation that you could make out whatever the structure is. And when I was enhancing this video, this photograph in high res, it almost seems shiny. What do you make of this?
Well, when I look at it, the first thing that pops up is that the pixelation on it is really high. So that's telling me that the camera is super far away. So it's hard to say that this is actually even a shadow. Like that white ball, the sphere that we're looking at, doesn't have to be technically a sphere, and we can judge this by looking at the rest of the image, which shows white, and see the like the troughs that kind of look like it, like maybe looked kind of like sand dunes in a way, running right next to it. So you can see at the end that they seem to go a little bit
Absolutely.
wider.
Sure.
Yeah, and then so there could be some kind of that it's just actually, it's not a sphere, but it's given us that impression because there's light bouncing off the inside of something, like more like that there's an indentation than an actual sphere, and the shadow.
One second, Kyle. I do want to point out to you, and it's an anomaly. But let me just tell you a quick story about how we're treasure hunters, and we look for relics and things like this. And you know what's really interesting is we find all kinds of marbles from 100 to 120 years ago off eroded areas, and it's almost like a game. It's like, who's going to find a marble today? And it's insane, especially when it rains and things like this. These spheres, these marbles, they present themselves like if you've got the eye. To me, it looks like almost like a perfect sphere, like a marble would reveal itself in under erosion. It's just I see it all the time. I've found hundreds of marbles and they're perfectly sphere.
Well, I'd say now this would we got to make the consideration that this is already inside of the crater. So once it's already inside of the crater, that means that it would have to at least be higher than the crater edge where it's black for the sun to be hitting it and causing a shadow to be going that way. So what could that mean then? You know, like it seems I'm not 100% that it's a sphere. In fact, it does appear to be like an indentation to me. But again, I'm working off just this one image, and judging off just the image, that is in fact what it looks like, is like a sphere. But I mean, unless I have more detail with it to go off like more of the images, it would be kind of difficult to judge. But I think it is an interesting picture. But I do think it has a good explanation. Just I've seen this kind of stuff before with other things like optical illusions, and looking at the inside of a face mask can look like it's actually popped out in 3D, even though you're looking at the inside of it. I'm thinking it's something more like that, but of course I'm not an expert on it, and you guys actually hunt marbles and bottles and stuff, so you guys might have a little more background on what it would look like. But that's just my opinion on it.
I want your opinion, people. What was discovered on Mars from the orbiter, and then including why is Google Earth maybe covering up these massive anomalies, possible towers on the moon? Stick around. We got other questions for you coming up in the next few days in regards to these new discoveries.
All right, here we go. Blake Cousins. Welcome back, everybody. Things are lighting up around the world. We have this video coming in from Italy, as well as numerous videos coming in. Let's just start out with this. Take a look at this. What are we looking at? It's coming in, and this is via our Facebook. It's a great place to share your UFO videos. Look at this. Look at this. Wow, did you see that airplane just fly by? This is coming in from Mary Sol from Italy, and they managed to capture some strange lights up in the sky. What are we looking at? We got Brent Cousins here. We got a lot of videos. Brent, what do you make of this first one?
Blake, we're just getting started, and what we're looking at here, Blake, this thing almost looks biological to me.
Well, could it be a bunch of mylar balloons floating in the air, or is this something extraterrestrial? Look at as we get a closer look at this.
Possibly experimental balloons way up in the sky, way high in the atmosphere. Look at that. It just passed by that passenger jet.
Wow, incredible video coming in from Italy. This was just shared about 11 minutes ago. Let's get to the next video right now. All right, here we go with new video. Take a look at that real quick. What just fell out of the sky? This is coming in via the Omega on this UFO group. This is an outlet out of Mexico, and they've captured something that they're sharing on their website. What are we looking at right now?
Like, these guys have a lot of activity. This looks like something that fell out of the sky, something from outer space. It looked like it could almost be a chemtrail, but it's moving way too fast.
I want to get your opinions, people. Wow. Now let's get to the next one right now. Coming in from Puerto Rico. This is insane. Look at this. A flying disc crashing into the ocean there. Look at this. We're slowing it down. All right, now we've seen the video coming in from Puerto Rico. We want to get your opinions, people. Is this some kind of a hoax, or is this a crash by a flying disc? Brent, what do you make of this?
Blake, I see some sort of ship over there on the horizon. Could this be some sort of military exercise? The splash really looks authentic, but there's some sort of shudder happening between this UFO effect. Blake, this could possibly be After Effects.
We get a lot of videos from around the world, and Facebook is flooded with these kind of fantastic videos coming every single day. Wow. You know, this is coming in. We want to share it. Now, let's get to the next video, and we'll see what happens next. Now, here's a video that hasn't been making much of the rounds on the internet, and I find it quite extraordinary. Could it be some kind of craft from Area 51. This is a flying disc, in my opinion. And if you look closely, there's something ejecting from the craft. This metallic disc there it is. Wow. Look at this. We're gonna zoom up, get a close look. Look at this. It seems like it's dropping something off there, right?
Wow, that was pretty weird. You see it, it's extruding out of the bottom there, and it just pops out. It looks like it's almost giving birth to a mini UFO. This is some of the strangest, most unique footage I've ever seen. Could it be an effect? I'm not sure. It's something to share right here at Third Phase.
Now look what happened in Brazil. Shortly after the footage that was captured, now we see this exact same metallic orbish ball that we can't explain. Could this be the exact same thing that this metallic craft just unleashed or dropped off over Brazil? That's quite amazing. Let's look at this again and see if it resembles the exact same thing that landed in Brazil.
We have an unidentified flying object.
It's dropping off some kind of drone. And what landed in the village in Brazil is a big question.
Blake, it's been exciting this week right here at Third Phase Moon. People wanted to see UFOs, man. We just delivered a good handful from the Omega Universe UFOs, and they're doing a good job.
We have an unidentified flying object. We have an unidentified flying object.
Now look at the people on the ground. They retrieved this thing. I hope it's not radioactive. I hope it's safe. It could be a satellite that fell out of the sky. Some people might say this, but wow, what is going on? I want to get your opinions, people, because we get a lot of stuff coming in via Facebook, and if you've shot something amazing, that's a good place to share it to us right here on our Third Phase of Moon Facebook. Now, John Graff captured over Los Angeles. This is quite astonishing. We all hear of chemtrails. What are creating the chemtrails over the skies all over the planet? And right away, we're looking at John Graff's incredible capture over Los Angeles just a couple days ago. And he can't make out what it is. And once he zooms in on this thing, he's stunned. He's stunned. It looks almost like a flying saucer orb laying a chemtrail over the skies over Los Angeles. Listen to this interview with John Graff, thanks to Hans Boysen, who managed to interview John Graff about this incredible sighting.
Yeah, I've been following the chemtrail operations for about 10 years, and I watch them all the time, and they're just so mysterious, and they become more mysterious because in the beginning, when I saw the spraying, it was planes. It looked like planes. It looked like people doing weather modification or cloud seeding. You know, it looked like that. But now there's a whole new element to it that's over us. There's planes that are up there shooting at high speeds, and they are just different. This is not jets. And if you look at the video that I shot, when you catch the 22-second mark, look at the speed they're going. It was like trying to catch a horse race in the front row. I was following it as fast as I possibly could. And I did not know at the time I was shooting that they were not planes, you know, at all. I just thought, you know, they were. Looking at the video myself, I saw that they were these dark-looking orbs going at very high speeds and leaving a massive trail across the sky. I mean, 2 in a row. I mean, anybody would think that is airport traffic is is so
It's
wrong.
really amazing. I've seen these planes, shooting across the sky, and most of the time they're like horizontally, number one. But number two, they never go in tandem like this.
There's people in other states that have caught like 5 in a row doing the same thing, but they did look like planes. I mean, they are shaped like planes. I got a feeling what we're seeing are shaped like planes a lot of the time. But every time I go out and shoot these chemtrails, I always think in the back of my mind, show me what you really look like. Just show me. I don't say it, but I think it. And that particular time, they actually showed me what they look like. And that's why I think that's what they all are. There's planes below. There's passenger jets that are spraying. I know that. They're hooked up. And I think it's to throw us off to what's kind of really going on up there. And the ones that are out of sight, they're so high up there that you can't make out what it really is a lot of the time. And I think those are not good at all. Because today was a war zone. And this is March 3rd. Today looked like Pearl Harbor right over our heads. Every minute of the day they were there. And people called me off the hook. All the people that know called me and go, John, are you looking at this? And I said, I sure am. This is insanity. So there's something more going on than we think, and it's not just weather control and all this stuff. They're trying to paint this picture of that, or that they're contrails. That's the biggest lie of all, because they're absolutely not. They're not melting away and like contrails would. They're leaving this stuff in the sky, and you can watch them every day put a ceiling on our sky, a toxic ceiling, and this is what's going on. I don't want to go too deep into it or anything. I know this is a UFO thing, and it's cool. But I always wanted to prove the fact that what I'm seeing, even when they're jets, are going way too fast. They're going way too fast to be jets. I can barely catch them. And so I think there's something more to this whole thing, and I try to prove that. And I want people to know that there's something going on over their heads, because most people are not paying attention to any of this stuff.
All right, we just heard John Graff's testimony in regards to his incredible shot of 2 UFOs making chemtrails over the skies of Los Angeles. And I gotta say, he captured something quite incredible. It definitely looks like an orb or a flying saucer. I don't see any evidence of a wing on this craft, anything that resembles any kind of aviation technology that I'm aware of. Unless it's reverse engineered alien technology. Brent, what do you got to say about this footage that John Graff captured?
Like, we've worked with John Graff for many years right now, and he's produced quite a bit of material to Third Phase, and this is some of the best chemtrail UFO videos I've ever seen. I'm seeing more of a triangular shaped TR-3B. Could these be new military options sending the TR-3Bs launching chemtrails over California?
Well, I hope not. Whatever's in the chemtrail, there is a lot of people on the internet that have answers. I want to get your opinions. What is being spewed over the skies of Los Angeles? What is this craft? Wow, this is incredible information coming in. I want to thank Hans Boysen and John Graff for sharing their incredible footage, and we will share the original links below. Everybody, keep your eyes on the skies. Stay safe, and if you see anything incredible, submit it to us right here at Third Phase of Moon. Our contact info is in the description. Blake Cousins, we'll see you again next time. Thanks, Brent. By popular demand, Paul Barrett is back with his 3rd album, Third Phase of Moon, The Strangest Things. 12 brand new tracks heard by millions on your favorite channel, Third Phase of Moon. Available on iTunes, Amazon, and music streaming services. Paul Barrett's third phase of Moon, The Strangest Things. Available right now. Links are below.
Control, this is Flight. We have a situation here. Control? 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 Control?
Keep your eyes on the skies. We're not alone.